Lesson 33. Let's begin with our first word, abstract. A useful phrase to remember is abstract noun. If something is abstract, it is an idea that is not physical and may be difficult to understand. Love, fear, and happiness are abstract nouns because you can feel them, but you cannot touch them. Abstract art is another example. It does not look like real objects, but expresses feelings and ideas. The phrase abstract noun is used in grammar to describe words that represent ideas rather than things you can see or hold. Now let's look at challenge. A helpful phrase for this word is, I challenged him to fight. A challenge is when someone dares or invites another person to compete or prove themselves. A student might challenge a friend to a chess match to see who is better. A boxer might challenge another fighter to a match. The phrase, I challenged him to fight, is often used when one person dares another to a competition, argument, or physical fight. Next, we have distracted. A good phrase to remember is distracted by sirens. If someone is distracted, their attention is pulled away from what they were doing. If a student is trying to read but hears loud music, they might be distracted and unable to concentrate. A driver who looks at their phone instead of the road is distracted and might cause an accident. The phrase distracted by sirens is used when loud sounds or sudden events take someone's focus away from what they were doing. Let's move on to fugitive. An example phrase is fugitive was captured. A fugitive is a person who is running away, often from the police or the government. A prisoner who escapes from jail becomes a fugitive. Someone who avoids paying their taxes and hides in another country might also be considered a fugitive. The phrase fugitive was captured is used in news reports and crime stories when police catch someone who is trying to escape the law. Now let's talk about immature. A useful phrase is immature behavior. If someone is immature, they act younger than their age, often in a silly or irresponsible way. A teenager who throws a tantrum like a small child is acting immature. Someone who refuses to listen to others and only thinks about themselves is also showing immature behavior. The phrase immature behavior is used when talking about actions that seem childish or not appropriate for a person's age. Next, we have legitimate. A great phrase for this word is legitimate excuse. If something is legitimate, it is real, legal, or accepted as the truth. A business that follows the law and has proper licenses is legitimate. If a student misses school because they were sick, that is a legitimate excuse. The phrase legitimate excuse is often used when someone gives a valid reason for why they could not do something. Let's move on to motive. An important phrase to remember is motive for the murder. A motive is the reason why someone does something. If a person donates money to charity, their motive might be kindness. If someone commits a crime, detectives try to find the motive. Was it for money, revenge, or something else? The phrase motive for the murder is used when police or investigators try to understand why a person was killed. Now let's discuss perilous. A phrase to associate with this word is perilous adventure. If something is perilous, it is very dangerous and risky. Climbing a tall mountain without safety gear is a perilous adventure. Crossing a river during a storm can also be perilous. The phrase perilous adventure is often used when talking about journeys that involve extreme danger, like in action movies or survival stories. Next, we have recommend. A useful phrase is, I recommend this movie. To recommend means to suggest something because you think it is good or useful. A teacher might recommend a good book to read. A friend might recommend a restaurant they love. The phrase, I recommend this movie, is used when telling others that you enjoyed a movie and think they should watch it too. Finally, let's talk about threshold. A helpful phrase is the threshold of life. A threshold is the entry point or beginning of something. The threshold of a house is the strip of wood or stone at the bottom of a doorway. The phrase, the threshold of life, means the starting point of something important, like a new career, a marriage, or the beginning of adulthood. That's the end of Lesson 33. Keep practicing these words and phrases to build your vocabulary and confidence.